I think coming from New York when I did, coming from the gangs and coming from orphanages and foster homes, when you're in that situation, your life is all about surviving
Okay.
by any means necessary.
Yeah.
When I got here, it was a completely different world. I didn't have to worry about where my food was coming, whether somebody was going to hurt me, what I had to do to eat, what I had to do to live. So the transition was scary but comforting.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Ha, ha. Yeah, yeah, yeah. All right, Luis, nice to meet you, man.
Pleasure meeting you too.
We
Man.
were just kind of talking, and you came across my radar, like many people, kind of just seeing what you were doing on socials. And it's the photography, but it was like they're really good. It's really good photography.
Thank you.
And is it black and white only?
I do a little bit of everything.
Okay.
Black and white is probably more my special for different things.
Yeah.
But I do have a little different style. So I think that's why I have such a following. I do a lot of live stuff. Like I do a lot of on-street photography. So like I was in
Yeah.
Chicago this week, and I just went up to people and took pictures. And I'll do little videos and I'll put them out. I just did a thing on Lidit's business windows.
Okay.
So I try to do things that are going to have people look twice. Hey, I live there. I know that window. I know that
Yeah.
place. I know that person, whether it's from New York or wherever it is. So I really try to make my photography special. It's tough I think it's tough to become great at photography because there's so many photographers,
Yeah.
so many iPhones.
Yeah, I was about to say, especially in today's day and age.
Yes, so many iPhones, but people just don't really grasp, or I should say understand what you need to know with a camera. Look at we're sitting here, we have mics, we have wires, we have lighting, so it's right. You have a certain kind of mic, you have certain kind of cameras, you have 3 cameras.
Yeah.
It's not just something that you just get up and do, but because I love it. I love capturing smiles and I love capturing moments. It's worth the investment. It's worth the time.
Yeah.
I just decided 3 years ago to go back into photography, and back in 2009, I did a documentary film for the Philadelphia Eagles called Green Fans. I traveled all around the world and documented Philadelphia Eagle fans.
Okay.
And followed 10 fanatical ones throughout the season. And that was a great eye-opener when it came to film. And I started doing a lot of film, but at that time I was married. My wife went into a job that we needed more time, and I needed to make a choice. Do I want to be out on the road, or do I want to be with my kids? I decided to come home
Sure.
and be with my kids. I knew my son would be graduating last year, so I wanted to put myself in a position where I could do what I loved 100% of the time.
Yeah.
Regardless of the money. Just losing people, and it just gives you a wake-up call on life is too short.
Yeah, man.
Life is way, way too short.
Yeah.
And we got to take advantage of our time now. We have to get out there and do what you love, and we get caught up in this rat race of I got to pay my bills and this and that, and we're stuck there.
Yep.
And we die too soon without doing and sharing our gifts and doing what we love.
Yeah.
And that's why I do it. I tell you, I have a lot of photographer friends that get so upset with me. They're like, your prices are too low. Why are you doing sports, and why are you doing branding, and why are you doing commercial, and why are you doing weddings? Because I love all of it.
Yeah.
It's not about the money. The money's nice, but it's about the capture. It's about freezing that time. And, with having so many losses in my life, it's also about leaving something behind that people can see. And I struggle sometimes charging people and them saying, oh, it's kind of, they don't say it, but, okay, thank you. I know the pricing is too much for some people. And what I say is, like, if you can't pay me now, pay me later.
Yeah.
Because I've had several situations with a stepbrother of mine that he's like a stepbrother. And he passed away before we were supposed to do their family pictures.
I got you.
And I've had clients come up to me and say, hey, I have someone in my family that's sick. It's just so important. It is so important to capture those times because when they're gone, they're gone.
Yeah.
You know? So
I can appreciate that, man.
Yeah. So
the whole focus on like doing, following your passion, that life is too short. Like that is like exactly what I've been going through the past, since the podcast started for me. The podcast started because of that. And since then, for the past 2 years, it's been very difficult because it is a rat race. And then you have to also like remind yourself, like, I love what I do. I can do this without getting paid. But you're right. The money's nice because at the end of the day, like you need to find something that will provide food on the table and the lights, just the basic shit. But following your passion and doing what you love and taking that chance of being like, I don't know what tomorrow is going to bring. I just know that I don't know what tomorrow is going to bring.
That's
and
right.
It's like this, if I lose, then I lose on my own merit, as opposed to being like, let me not take this chance because it's safer here. And then you end up losing anyway. You know what I mean? And there's different ways that you can lose your job. You can get fired. You can be in the hospital. You can, your spouse will leave you. Anything you can think of.
Anything can happen.
And I've been through so much, so I relate to that. And so then talk to me about the decision finally to be like, okay, well then, life is too short. I'm taking this chance. Was it not easy, but was the blow soft for you to make that jump?
It was easy for me for many reasons. It was easy for me because I know tomorrow's not promised. It was easy for me because I went into it with two other friends. It's easy for me because I'm not married. My kids are grown.
Okay.
So some of those responsibilities I don't have. But getting it to where it's at now after 3 years has been hard.
Yeah, sure. Because
with everything, there's a learning curve. I've owned several businesses throughout my life. But when you have a business that's your passion, it's a little different. There's a little different kind of stress.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's been easy, but at the same time, it's been challenging.
Yeah.
So, but I listen, people at work, young people, I tell people, listen, in the next year or two, this is all I'm going to be doing. And I'm going to be traveling, and I do now. I mean, people see me. I go all over the place. I'll shoot everywhere, anywhere. Yeah, I'll shoot anything. Just got back from Chicago, so it's a must. It's a must do. You have to, if your kids are settled and your wife is a good supporter of you, and believes in your dream, or if you're single, find someone that supports you.
Yeah.
Do what you have to do. And if you start part-time, then it's an easier process. I have some of my photography friends that sometimes say, hey, why don't you just go photography full-time? I'm like, I don't need to. Of course I don't, because I have another paycheck coming in.
Gotcha. Yeah.
So it's easier. Where some of my photography friends that are full-time, that's all they rely on.
Okay, gotcha. So you're not relying full-time on photography?
Not full-time. Okay. It's a full-time job.
Yes, absolutely.
Believe me, it's two full-time jobs But I don't have to. Yeah, if I have a week, which rarely ever happens, that I don't have work, I'm okay. You know, I don't have that stress.
Gotcha.
But the my fourth year, which will be the end of next year, I have a 5-year plan. My fourth year, which would end next year, is to be full-time photography.
Yeah.
Yeah. Year 5 is to travel between Pennsylvania, Florida, Puerto Rico, and just go back and forth. Do a lot of beach work.
Yeah.
Do a lot of sports stuff. Maybe open up, some companies in those places. So, you have some residual income coming in.
Yeah.
It gives me the flexibility to travel and go see my kids, my grandkids. I have grandkids.
Okay, that's awesome.
Yeah. And
how many grandkids do you have?
I have 3.
Nice.
I have 3, and my daughter's in Florida.
Okay.
It's one of the reasons why I want to go to Florida.
Gotcha.
Because there are beaches, and there are sports over there are pretty intense.
Yeah.
So, and this gives me the opportunity to go see my grandkids when I want.
Well, I think that's the cool thing too. Is like, and I can, my oldest she'll be 21. And so I'm kind of like at that point in my life where I'm kind of like I want to start planning. I don't want to be tied down when it's time to do shit that I want to do, especially when like I have 2 older kids and I have 2 little ones. So I got a long road ahead of me, God willing, that I'm excited for. But when it comes to like the grandkids, like you're saying, like I remember seeing my parents and seeing other people's parents, like not being able to spend time with grandchildren. My grandparents, on both sides, just hardworking. So when you finally find that passion, like you're saying, my assumption is, and I feel this way for myself as well, is it does make it a little easier to be like, I'm gonna swing away for whatever here and see what comes of it, because it just feels good, and why not? How do you decide your subjects? You said that you shoot live. You mentioned Chicago. I've seen some of your work. Like I said, I love what I'm seeing. Is it just seeing random people and something clicks for you and you reach out?
Well, you have your street photography, which is more of you're walking, you're looking. I don't think as a photographer you ever just go and just hope something happens.
Oh, okay.
I think you go and you look at compositions, you look at different things, you look at shadows, you look at lighting, you look at reflections, you look at your subjects, you look at faces.
But you're doing all this in the moment, like live, as people are walking by.
That's right.
Yeah.
And that's the other thing people don't understand is, like, photographers understand that every time you move from one place to another, if I was to move right now to the left, you wouldn't see me.
Yeah.
It'd be dark.
Right.
So you have to be able to manipulate your cameras and be able to capture that moment, not just the lighting, but the person, what's behind them. What are you showing? You can't just take a picture of someone.
Yeah.
When I go out and I see someone, automatically, let's say I see someone probably with dreads, I look at them and I say, what's their story? What is their dress like? What is their mood?
Yeah.
And then it's also about making connections and making sure that people feel comfortable with you.
Yeah. I was about to say, you're walking up with a camera.
Yeah. Yeah. So it's, I've always been a people person, so it's easy. I've always been a person that smiles and feel comfortable with other people, regardless of anything. It doesn't matter. It's just the way I grew up. I came from the streets to the country.
Yeah.
Where
are you from? Are you from Lancaster?
Well, I'm originally from New York.
Okay. What part of New York?
South Bronx.
Gotcha.
I came here at the age of 14, 15. And I found a foster family. I was orphaned.
Okay.
And my foster family were, they're Caucasian country folks. But I came from the straight hood. Like I came from I came from Zulu Nation,
Okay, yeah.
dancing in the streets, cleaning windows, sleeping on the rooftops, to a stable, loving environment. So my life has gone through so many changes, and I've learned so many different things, so I can interact with so many different people.
Yeah.
Which is a blessing.
Absolutely.
So when I look at people, when I approach people, my thought process is a little different. I think people can feel. Like, I met you, I could feel that you were a cool cat.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You
Cool
can just
word.
feel the vibe.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can just feel the vibe. And I think I have that gift, and I think I have the gift of making people feel comfortable and understanding and listening.
Yeah.
So when it comes to my subjects, I can kind of tell by just looking at people kind of what their story is.
That's cool.
And sometimes you take a picture, all you see is the picture. You don't see what goes on beforehand. Hi, my name is Louis. I'm a local photographer. Hi, my name is Louis.
Fair enough.
I'm a photographer from Pennsylvania or from Philadelphia. I would love to take your portrait. I love your look. I love your style. When I look at you, you make me happy. When I look at you, you make me feel, like this person is interesting. And then, you get that person to open up to you. Because if they don't, it's like building short-term relationships very, very fast.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Because if you're not comfortable with someone, you're not going to buy from them. If you're not comfortable with someone, you're not going to open up to them. So you kind of have to have that, and not all photographers have that.
Well, that ability to kind of make people feel comfortable. Yeah.
That's right. And a lot of photographers don't have the ability to deal with children or deal with people that could be too outgoing or not outgoing enough. I'm able to look at those people and, treat them all differently.
Yeah.
So I think that's my gift. So through that, I'm able to talk to people, subjects out in the street. And I love to do I did a parade. I did a parade in Chicago. I did a Halloween parade. And that was interesting.
Yeah.
Because you capture things like parents in costumes. Why do parents put costumes on? Because they love their children. They want their children to feel comfortable. So you have pictures of this adult. I have a picture I'm going to be coming of this adult guy he's like 6'7". He has this Michael Myers mask on, and this beautiful little kid next to him. Like, look at the difference between those two.
Yeah.
So, it's moments like that is people loving on each other, people smiling.
Yeah.
I try not to do too much homeless stuff unless I know the homeless people. You kind of want to be respectful.
I was about to say, out of respect for, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, in the United States, as a photographer, once you click that shutter, you're the artist.
Yeah.
We don't have to ask permission as long as we're in public areas.
Right.
So that's a line that some photographers cross and some don't.
Yeah.
I prefer not to. I prefer to talk to people and make sure that they're okay with being captured.
Yeah, word.
Yeah.
Well, I feel like people, even though everything you said is correct, the public doesn't think along those lines because they're not thinking as a photographer.
That's right.
But I can appreciate that. I could, in today's day and age, like we were just mentioning earlier, like how things are today with the iPhones. When it comes to the homeless, a lot of social media content, you see a lot of homeless being approached by somebody with a camera, giving them money. And it's always kind of like, damn, man, it's a beautiful, noble act. But then also there's always like this, but you've got this camera. Mm-hmm. And this person's life continues to stay the same after you're gone.
That's right.
And so when you say that's a line you don't cross, I can appreciate that.
Yeah, it's a tough place to be because I have a lot of friends that work with the homeless, and they always ask me to take pictures. And my thing is, if I'm taking pictures of you.
Yeah.
I'm not taking any direct pictures of homeless people. Unless they ask me and we have a conversation and I know their story. And that's a different situation.
How is that with your traveling then? And that my assumption is that you're seeing a lot of homelessness across the country.
I do. It's so hard. It is so hard to. That's another reason why I do what I do, because nobody knows what's going to happen tomorrow.
Yeah.
You could lose your job and get a divorce. Put yourself in a situation where you could be homeless.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why I do what I do now. It's tough seeing the homeless. It's tough having friends that deal with the homeless, because I see the politics behind it.
Okay.
I mean, I see what's happening downtown Lancaster.
Yeah.
Where they're being pushed around the corner now.
Yeah.
But I see both sides.
Yeah, I'm sure you do.
I get it. I see, but there's still people. There's still people that have addictions and mental health problems and fears. You know. So growing up as a kid in New York City and being homeless as a kid, that's a very touchy, emotional,
I would think, yeah,
part for me. So I always try to, I wish there was a way that I could help them, and I do. Every time I go to a big city, I mean, people tell you I always have $25 in my pocket just to give to the homeless.
I got you.
Yeah.
Was that something that you discovered in this process of photography? Was the emotional impact that has on you, or was that always something that bothered you?
No, through photography and framing and freezing and seeing people, then it came about.
Gotcha.
Because growing up in it, you don't really worry about it.
Yeah.
You hang out with some homeless people, when it's just a regular day for them. We see them, a lot of people see them differently. Some people see them as a nuisance. Some people, because of fear of not knowing,
yes,
they see them differently. So, yeah.
Your photography, forgive me, I'm chewing my ice right now.
That's okay.
One of the things that I love about photography, and it's an art that I have always loved. When it's done right, you can see the story, if that makes sense. When a shot is done right and the picture is so beautiful, it's hard to not stare at it and just be like, what's going on here? What was going on here? The reason why I kind of led with that was because that must be a catch-22 for you, where it's a very difficult situation where you see the homeless, you respect it, you don't want to take direct pictures, but also what you are doing is providing an opportunity for people to see the story. So was that an easy decision for you when it came to that? It was a hard stop. Like, I get it, but I'm not doing it because the reason why I'm saying that is because I would imagine that you could shine a light on, for example, the work, what's being done downtown with the homeless. You could shine a light on that through your artwork, through the pictures.
Yeah.
You see what I'm saying?
I think in the right circumstances, for instance, there's a nonprofit organization called Wepa for Christ.
Yeah.
From Lancaster, Pennsylvania. Yeah. And they feed the homeless. They give clothing. They have a food truck. And I do work for them.
Gotcha.
So what I do is I capture moments of their representatives helping the homeless people. They use that as advertising to be able to get funding to help the homeless.
Okay.
So I'm not opposed to shooting the homeless as long as it's in an act of where they're being helped.
I got that, yeah.
And such a sucker because sometimes I'll do it for free just because I know that the impact that it can have.
Yeah.
Not a sucker.
No, but I dig what you're saying.
Yeah. So there's moments and there's situations, like I said, whip for Christ. There's things that you can do in a tasteful way to be able to help people.
Yeah. How are you going about deciding? You mentioned beach. I mean, we're talking about street, beach, Chicago, Florida. Like, it's two different worlds.
Yeah, I once again, it's all about love for me.
Yeah.
A lot of people don't understand that. A lot of people's like, love, you got to pay bills, you got to do this, you got to do that. Listen, it's about love. When I'm gone, my kids, my friends, the people that I've captured are going to have this stuff that's going to live forever. In this digital world, all those pictures are always going to be here.
Yeah.
You always can find them. You can't get rid of any of them.
Yeah.
You can put them in your hard drive or whatever it is, but there's still digital copies out there. So for me, it's all about love. As I've gotten older, I love the beach. I notice the love that people have when they go away, when they're at the beach, when they're in the sun, when they're in the water. Families, they take them. You know, the birds, the food, the whole beach vibe makes people feel and act differently. And when you can capture that, it's capturing people at their purest state. Mm-hmm. And that's why I love beaches. Plus, as I've gotten older, I love the relaxation of the beach. I love the sound of the beach. I love sitting out there.
Yeah.
So if I go shoot, like, I don't know, last month I did 2 senior portraits at the beach. The next 2 days I stayed at the beach.
Yeah, might as well, right?
I did street photography and I just enjoyed myself.
Yeah.
You know, so beaches I love. So, Florida and Puerto Rico, and even here, I'm having a couple of beaches, several beaches in the Pennsylvania, New Jersey area. You know, that's something that calls me to do the beach work. When it comes to places like Chicago and New York, Philadelphia, it's all about, the city life.
Yeah.
And, when I do portraits for people, I say, I offer them, if we're doing outside portraits, we can go down to Peckway or Solanco, jump on a farm, do some country stuff, or go to Buckmiller Park and do some park stuff, and then go into downtown Lancaster
right there on
and
Queen,
do some city stuff. Or I do day trips. We can go to Philadelphia. We can go and do some of the city stuff that, that's notable. Everything that you see, all the big buildings, the stadiums, everything everybody can recognize by eye. So, yeah. I love it. That's why I pick those places.
Well, yeah.
And I love sports. Sports has always been a part of my life.
Okay.
High school, college.
I saw you're an Eagles fan. Is that?
Yeah. Well, we might not want to talk about that too much because we're about to win another Super Bowl. So.
Oh, here we go. You're talking to a Niners fan, so give me a break over here.
Oh my gosh, the 49ers, man! This podcast is over. Can I get my? No, listen. My cousin, which he's one of my closest loves. Like, he's like a little brother to me. He's a diehard 49ers fan, and every year we go see a Niners game.
That's cool.
Yeah, we do go see a Niners game. We go see a Michigan game together every year, and yeah. I mean, I love sports. Grew up sports.
Yeah.
Sports kind of saved me a little bit.
Okay.
I came to Lancaster County and I excelled in sports, and that gave me a path to get through school. And then I went to Stevens and I went to Millersville University. So sports have always been a part of my life, and capturing moments, it's great. And parents love to see their kids in motion.
I bet.
They love to see their kids in motion. So yeah,
The candid shots.
the candid shots are awesome. Yes, I work with a photographer. His name is Ole. He's a big name photographer here in Lancaster County, and I do a lot of commercial stuff for him, and I do a lot of events. And he's taught me how to build a story by capturing all the candids. They connect to the story.
Interesting.
So, you can't just go in a place and take a picture of the show. What's the event? Who's the event for? Who's watching it? Who's part of the event? So candids are very, very important. And I think that's one of my gifts is that I'm able to capture moments that when people look at them, they can relate to it. Like, that's what I'm looking at.
Yeah.
It's kind of like shooting through a 50 millimeter lens, which is the one closest to what the eye looks like.
Okay.
So if you're walking down the street and you yourself say, okay, here's this old car coming. Look how beautiful it is. If I capture that in its most natural state, when you look at it, you're going to be able to feel it.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? And that takes composition, what's around it,
Yeah.
There's a lot that goes into it.
That's what I was getting ready to say. Is there's a lot that's going on when it comes to framing the shot, and just what we see takes a lot of work.
Takes a lot of work. I mean, every time I shoot something, it's like, and every time I edit something, it's like, which way is the subject going? Where are they going to? What's on the other side? Do you want to show the viewer what's on the other side? So it's a wider shot. Do you want to make sure this person stands out or something else stands out? Then you have to look at your colors. So much that goes into it. It's really art.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
sometimes I get around some people and they're like, oh, it's just a camera. Anybody can do it.
Nah.
People always say to me,
Nah.
people always say, and photographers all around will tell you, this is like the worst thing you can tell a photographer. Oh, your camera is so good.
Yeah.
I used to say, hey, I taught it everything I know.
Right.
So it's like, yeah.
Well, even when I got the cameras for the podcast and I was YouTubing the hell out of them, it gave me a huge sense of, like, it humbled me. And I never once thought that it was easy, but it just opened my eyes, the shutter speed, the ISO, everything that I was like learning just to get my podcast where I wanted it. And it was just like, holy hell, there's a lot that's going on. And all the videos that I was watching, I was just like, man, like, props, like huge props. And so I'm assuming that when you have it in the bag and it's nice and you have a rhythm, but there's still work that you're doing. That camera just doesn't do it itself. Yeah.
It doesn't. It does a lot by itself, but there's a lot of other components that you have to put in to have the picture made. Lighting is so important, and it's still something that I struggle with at times. But
I'm struggling all the time with lighting.
But listen, I came in here and I was like, okay, this is good. He knows what he's doing.
Thanks, man. I mean that. Thank you. Because I'm trying different stuff every week.
That's right.
No one knows that, but I'm like, every day I'm like, I'm gonna try something different.
Yeah, and you have to do different, and you have to keep growing. You have to keep learning.
Yeah.
And technology changes
so
much.
Yeah.
I just bought my cameras, and there's 4 or 5 other ones.
Yeah.
And when you're spending that kind of money, you kind of have to weigh out what you spend it, where you spend it, unless you're super wealthy, and then you can buy whatever you want. But I don't think I'll ever be super wealthy, and I'm okay with that.
That's cool, man.
Yeah, as long as I'm happy.
As long as you're happy.
As long as people, it's been such a gift to be a photographer, especially here in Lancaster County. It's like I go places and people are like, hey, I love your stuff. And I'm
Yeah.
like, you've never hit a like. So that's another thing. It's like you don't know who's seeing your stuff.
That
You don't know
part
who's
right
listening to
there,
you. You
bro.
don't know who's
Yeah.
watching you.
Yep.
Everything you do has a direct effect on other people.
Yeah.
My logo, which I changed 4 or 5 times, it's not this big set of lips with a smile.
I love it.
And it says empower, love, enlighten. And I made it like this, and I made it colorful because I wanted the first thing for people to do was to look at it when they saw me
Okay.
and to feel comfortable. The colors,
Yeah.
open up their eyes, the letters, they want to read them. And when they read them, they're positive. So automatically you see the change in people's faces.
Yeah.
They ask questions, they look once, they look twice, you know. And that's all I want to do is leave smile on people's faces.
Yeah. Well, that's one of the when we talked about the vibes, I got
Yes.
that same vibe from you as well. And while we're talking, one of the things that I'm thinking about is, and you brushed on it lightly, is your interaction with people. Talk to me about, like, what have you, through this experience in your career with photography, what have you learned about people?
What have I learned about people? People love to be on camera. Not everyone. But sometimes I think that everybody does just on their terms. Oh, I need to look like this. I mean, you go online now, it's like pictures here, pictures there, filters here, filters there. Okay, now I look good.
Right.
But I think people love that connection with the camera, especially if it's a good picture. I can go up to people, especially the younger generation. If I have a camera, they're like,
Yeah.
they don't know who I am.
Yeah.
I walk by the beach. I walk downtown.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, the older people are like, but, you know, it's just society and the way life has changed. And, you know, social media, it's all about capturing moments, the selfie and, you know. So I learned that, I guess I've learned that people are more approachable than we think. I think our fears keep us from approaching and connecting with people. Because we no longer have to do it like when we were young. We didn't have all the social media.
Yeah.
Went outside, saw someone, hey, how you doing? What's up, man? My name is Louis. What's your
Yeah.
name? Yeah, what do you do? Okay. Want to hang out? Cool.
Yeah.
We don't do that anymore. You know, social media's kind of taken away the ability for us to grow and communicate with each other. You know. But I think most people love to be captured.
I can appreciate that. It was one of the things that I was thinking was, you know, when you were talking about you seeing people at the beach and they're at their purest state. And we talked about the homelessness, and we talked about sports. I'm assuming that you can see a whole different other side of people when it comes to sports. So there has to be at some point like a common thread that you're noticing about humanity. And like, that's one of the things that I love about pictures. And my wife also, especially, she gets lost in just looking at pictures, because there's always a way that you can tell what people may be thinking or going through. But then it's also like this connection to just like humanity. Mm-hmm. And like, you don't have to speak a language or the same language rather to notice something that's relatable in a picture. Mm-hmm. And so, you know, I would think that as a photographer, that when you're hip to that, it makes that whole process a lot more exciting. Yeah.
I think that's why I love sports and street photography so much, because the athletes are not looking at the camera. They're just in a natural state.
Fair enough. Yeah.
Street photographer It's candid, emotional. If there's an event, if there's a rally, if there's a parade or something going on. But usually what happens is when you point the camera at someone, they smile.
Mm-hmm.
They could have just had a fight with their significant other. You point a camera at them, they smile.
Yeah.
That's just the way it is. So to catch that pure part of it, a lot of times is candid or emotionally driven moments. Homeless.
Yeah.
But once again, there's that line of what you want. This parade I just did, the smile, the kids, the candy, the loving of the families. I always take too long in my portraits, in my family portraits, because I'm laughing and I'm talking, and I don't care. Some of my other photographer friends do. It's like, Louis, you just spend 4 hours doing a portrait shoot. Do it in an hour.
They're thinking about time and money.
They're thinking about time and money.
Yeah.
But I'm thinking about making a connection.
Yeah.
Because I love it and I want to enjoy that time also. It's not just for you. It's for me too.
Yeah.
The outcome of the picture is going to bring back the memories and let you know what a wonderful moment that is. I just did a family. And it was raining. And they were like, hey, I can't get my family together all the time. I don't care if it's raining, we're doing it.
That's cool.
I had to spend all this extra time taking these water droplets out.
Yeah.
Davis family. And it was like 15, 18 of them. Not one of them complained.
Yeah.
In the rain, not one of them complained. That experience to me was like unbelievable.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. The love, of family and being able to capture that. It was, I always have these experiences through photography, which I think make me grow also as an individual, emotionally. Because life is too short.
Well, you're kind of like leading into my question, because my question was, it seems that just you alone, you seem to be very emotionally involved in what you do, period. Mm-hmm. And so I'm assuming that, when it comes to emotional intelligence and the understanding people and being empathetic and sympathetic and everything that goes along with that's very high on your radar. That's something that I relate to personally. So I feel that when you are that kind of person and you are able to tap into that with whatever it is you're doing, it just makes it so much more, your work is so much, I don't want to say better, but it's, the quality of what you're doing is way better than I think somebody that's just like you said, time is money. I could do this for an hour. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What comes across in the pictures is different then.
Yeah.
And I work for many photographers as a freelancer because of that. Because they know I'm going to make connections. They know that people are going to be comfortable with me. When you experience a photography shoot with me, if you go into the studio with me, I'm going to figure out what kind of music you like. Yeah. I'm going to figure out if you want something to drink.
Yeah.
Something to eat. If you want to be barefooted, you'll be barefooted. If you want to wear glasses, you're going to wear glasses. I don't care. I want you to be in your zone. I want you to be as happy and as comfortable as you can be. That doesn't always happen. I've experienced times, just once in my 3 years, where one of my customers just couldn't get comfortable. And you could tell in the pictures.
Yeah.
She's like, I don't like the pictures. I look at the pictures. They're super sharp. You look great. Your clothes is good. The poses are nice. But there is something there. You can tell. You can tell. So when you experience a photo shoot with me, and I think 95% 90% of the people will tell you is they're going to say the experience was amazing. I think I'm a good photographer, but I think I'm an amazing people person.
That's good though, man. I dig it. Yeah.
So I think my gift is creating those moments and those relationships. People call me back all the time.
Yeah.
People call me back all the time. All the time. And there's no prejudice with me. I don't care if you're poor.
Yeah.
I don't care if you're rich. A lot of photographers are like, this is where I want to go. This is my group of people.
Yeah.
You know, I just did a wedding that they couldn't afford much. It was in their house. But to me, it still needs to be beautiful for them because it's their moment. You know, there's photographers. I can't use that. I can't post that.
There are photographers that shy away from that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't use that. I can't post that.
Wow.
That person looks like this. That person looks like that. And I struggle with that because I think everybody deserves to be captured. Everybody deserves to have wedding pictures. Everybody deserves to have family pictures, whether you can use it on your website or not.
Yeah.
Everybody's beautiful to themselves, you know what I mean? To each other. You know, and that's all you can do is just... I guess that's why it's so emotional to me.
Well, again, that goes back to what I was saying, and that you are able to... I consider myself a very simple man. And so I feel like when you are not high maintenance in that regard, whatever that means, you're very simple, that you are able to look at things differently. And I feel like that too is part of your gift, where you're able to hone in on things that other people would overlook because it doesn't go with... they can't use it on their website. Their portfolio doesn't need that. That's not their bag. You know, whatever it is. I can appreciate that, and I think that's probably why people do respond to you so well, is because you're very welcoming.
Yeah.
And that, where once people feel comfortable and they feel safe and vulnerable, they feel safe being vulnerable, and the guard comes down, that's where a lot of magic happens.
That's right.
Like you can relate to that with the pictures and your photography. Here on the podcast, it's the same thing. When people just open up and get comfortable, and it's like, what can I do to put you in a position so that we can have a conversation, and it's not a question answer, and next thing I know, 40 minutes later, it's over. I want to engage, but people, and rightfully so, it's very difficult for people to be vulnerable because there's a lot of guarding of yourself. And so I feel like what you're doing is so freaking cool. You know what I mean? That there needs to be more of that.
Yeah. You know, that's not what I'm talking about. It's not a knock on any other photographers.
Oh, 1,000%.
You know, everybody's different. I think my gift is, I think a large portion of the photographers I know, when it comes to photography itself, you know, I think they're better.
Yeah.
More experience, better quality, maybe even better equipment. And that's great. My focus is to connect with people and capture times and moments.
Yeah. Going back to, you made a comment that you, as an orphan, came to Lancaster. You had an experience of being in the South Bronx, and then here you are, the country life. Talk to me about this dynamic, because you said eventually it aided in your ability to connect with different people. But was that, at the moment growing up, was that difficult for you?
I think coming from New York when I did, coming from the gangs and coming from orphanages and foster homes, when you're in that situation, your life is all about surviving
Okay.
by any means necessary.
Yeah.
When I got here, it was a completely different world. I didn't have to worry about where my food was coming, whether somebody was going to hurt me, what I had to do to eat, what I had to do to live. So the transition was scary but comforting. You know, I no longer had to worry. Even though the PTSD of making sure that you're always going to be safe remains, you don't see it as often. It's not activated as often because life was different. My biggest thing is that I was able to see and experience both things. Where you have people that come from one area and completely talk back about the other area because they've never experienced it. You know, I've experienced white, country, rock and roll, rappers, drug dealers, whatever.
Yeah.
So I feel comfortable in all those things because I know them. I've lived them. So sometimes I know that God has a plan on how he wants your life to be lived, you know, and I think that he had me go through everything that I went through so I could be able to help all different kind of people and connect with all different kind of people. About 2.5 years ago, I met my biological family.
Okay.
And that in itself was life-changing because it released a lot of feelings and thoughts that I wasn't sure, you know, a lot of unanswered questions.
Sure.
I have an amazing family. Now I'm blessed with 2 different families.
Yeah.
And being from the Hispanic culture, you know, my Hispanic family is completely different than my, you know, Caucasian family. But there's still so much love from both of them, you know, and I'm just blessed, man. I'm blessed. I was happy to move forward and be in a different place. You know, I think I've used the best out of all my situations to be the best person that I could be. And I think my biggest gift from all those transitions is being able to love and deal with everyone as an individual. And to be able to truly show kindness and love. It's not easy.
No, and this comes up often on the podcast where it's when we get to a point in our lives where we have, it's like this forgiveness or this empathetic approach to life, where you're just like, I see you not so much as my parent, but more so just as a person, because that's all we really are. And you know, and it's kind of like my father passed away in December, and now as I think about a lot of things, I'm like, and I wish I would have taken the time a little bit more to understand who my father was, just as him.
Yes.
That's a very liberating feeling to be able to get to that point. It's a lot of maturity, a lot of growth, but I'm sure for you, like you said, even though it may have been, it was what it was, you were able to take from it what you needed to grow. How did that come about, you having contact with your biological family? Was that initiated by you or
the
no?
crazy thing is, I was dating a wonderful woman, and we stopped dating not because of anything bad. It's just we were in different places.
Okay.
And we still remain friends still to this day.
Cool.
She bought me one of those kits.
The DNA kit?
DNA kit.
Yeah.
And for Christmas, she bought one for her and one for me. And she called me a couple months after we were no longer dating. And she said, Louis, you know, you still have this here. So I went over and I got it and I did it.
Okay.
I sent it in and posted all the information, posted my on my social media, and I get this text from this man, a messenger. I remember like it was yesterday. I was at work. Hey, I'm sorry. I don't really check this that often. I noticed you send an email, and I noticed that our numbers are really close. I have been looking for my brother, but I think my brother, I believe my brother's older than me. But I just wanted to reach out and talk to you. And I told him, I texted him back, and I said, can I call you? So I took a break at work. I called and I started talking to him, and he's like, man, there's a lot of similarities here. He says, let me call my sister, because my sister was the one that was involved with my mom, trying to find our brothers. We got private detectives, we got all sorts of stuff, all sorts of paperwork. And because I'm Latino, I have 5 different names.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I got 5 different names, and back then it was even harder to find. He put my sister on the phone and we talked, and she asked me some questions, and she said, hey, fellow, this is our brother.
Wow.
And life, at that moment, it was just, I felt like somebody took a 100-pound rug backpack off of me. And my sister is in Allentown. My brother and my other sister are in New York, and my third sister is in Ohio. And the crazy thing is, no, not Ohio. She's in Georgia.
Okay.
The crazy thing is that when I went to see them, she was like, hey, I want to see you. And I'm like, I'm crazy busy. I want to see you too, but it's going to take a couple weeks.
Yeah.
They're like, what do you mean a couple weeks? You know how Spanish people,
Yeah.
what do you mean? So I talked my best friend into going with me.
Okay.
Because I didn't know what to expect.
Yeah.
Like, I didn't know what kind of emotions. I didn't know what was going to happen. Mm-hmm. So he went there. My brother and my sister were there, and met them. And they said, hey, we're going to run to the park real quick to grab some stuff for George, my nephew. And we went along, and we pulled up to this park. And it's like this big sign, welcome home, Louis.
Wow.
And there was all these family members.
Wow.
And it was like,
how was that feeling?
oh, it was surreal, man.
Yeah.
The crazy thing is, it's like I felt right at home. Like I thought there was going to be fear and all sorts of stuff going on.
Awkwardness.
I felt right at home.
Yeah.
It's like I was looking at these people that looked like me. I was hugging these people that acted like me, that looked like me. And my grandkids have blue eyes, so we've never known where the blue eyes have come from.
Yeah.
2 out of the 3 have blue eyes. And all of a sudden, I'm hugging all these people, and they have blue eyes.
Oh, wow.
Because, Latinos are all sorts.
Sure.
My dad was lighter than you.
Yeah.
My mom was darker than me.
Yeah.
So it was earth-changing. It changed my life. It changed the way I, emotionally, it changed me. I struggled with relationship with women for a long time because I was always afraid they're going to leave, like my mother.
Okay.
Like my grandmother died when I was 6. Knowing that people were looking for me, knowing that people were loving me, without me knowing.
Yeah.
Changed my life. So, between that and having a couple deaths, well, not a couple, several deaths in the families over the last 5 years. At one time, my son had cancer.
I'm sorry.
Yeah. And knowing that life could change in an instant. I can walk out here, get hit by a car, and never be able to walk again or talk again.
Yeah.
Anything can happen. So I tried to live, my everyday today, right now.
Yeah, live right now.
It's scary for some people.
Yeah.
Some people look at me like, crazy, what are you talking about? I try to enjoy every day. My first job is crazy because I work in the dairy industry.
Okay.
So that in itself is different people, different, clientele.
Yeah.
And I'm there at 6 a.m. singing and dancing.
Are you that type of person?
Yeah, people are like, what's wrong with this guy? I'm singing Spanish music and stuff and all sorts of stuff. And they're looking at me. They don't know what I'm saying. They're like, man, what's going on with this guy?
They're still trying to wake up, and you're
right.
bright-eyed and bushy-tailed.
But I think I haven't always been that way. I think over the last 5 years have really changed my life to being happy and being, just glad that I wake up. One of my best friends, going on 2 years, fell down the steps, hit his head, laid in bed. It's the last time we saw him.
Wow.
That was very, and we've all experienced these things.
Yeah. Yeah.
But they've really stuck with me.
But you've been able to, like what I'm gathering is, and one of my questions was, how are you able to, your faith, you mentioned God, has that always been a part of your life?
God has always been a part of my life in one way or another.
Okay.
So God has always been the spiritual world, God. It's always been part of my life.
You've always been hip to it and aware and
I've always
connected.
been hip and aware and connected in many ways. And it's always been there for me to lean on. He's always been there for me to lean on. I don't think I've always thought that he'd listened, but sometimes you go through things so you can learn what's good for you and what's not.
And I think a lot of people have a hard time coping with the fact that that's all that experience was for you just to learn it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's a lot of people that are like, I've gone through so much. Where's my...
Why?
Yeah. And I'm like, maybe you haven't taken the time to just get hip to the fact that, I went through a divorce 10 years ago, and it was a pretty bad divorce for me. And I remember talking with my sister, and I was just like, the funny thing is that even though this sucks, I saw all the signs for years I needed to get out of this marriage. Mm-hmm. And it was almost like God was just like, well, if you're not going to do this, then I'm going to force you to move
in that
direction.
Direction.
What I mean?
Yeah.
And it's going to suck, but I've been trying, but I wasn't paying attention. And it's almost like you need to pay attention to what goes on in everything that happens in your life. And this is just my personal opinion. Everything that happens in your life is for a reason. Just how small it is, how big it is, there's a reason. And even if it's for you to just sit and ponder and think, you know what I mean? Put things into perspective. That changes some things in your life. I had an altercation before I got married to my wife now. It was raining. I was at Sheetz waiting for this lady in front of me to fill air in her tire so I can get my tires filled. And she couldn't do it. And she comes walking over to my car, and she's in tears. Do you mind doing this? I can't do this. My husband used to do this, but he died. And it was just like, I talked to her for 3 minutes, putting air in her tire. And she thanked me. And her mom was dying. And she was, and she went up. I never saw her again. But those 3 minutes changed. You see what I'm saying?
Changed a lot of things.
Yeah.
Changed the way she thought about people. Changed some of her fears. Changed the way you thought about it. Are you a better husband today?
Yeah, 1,000%.
Okay.
It was worth it.
That's right. Everything.
Yeah.
Everything is worth it. And social media is tough because you see, I'm to blame too.
Yeah.
You see people upset and hurt and talking about life. But if we stop and think and learn, sometimes we can take different direction. If we don't get stuck on why me's, And life is different. You know, you could move forward. You could try things. You know. So try. Kudos to you. You've been doing this for a while. You know how many people think about it. I thought about it. I can't do it. It's just too much. You know, I could probably do it physically.
Yeah.
But could I do it like you can? Probably not, because this is your love.
Yeah.
My love is photography.
Right.
And I truly believe, I mean, I know people say, oh, it's not about love. You got to be, you know. I think when you love something, it gives you that extra oomph.
Yeah.
To get and do what you want. Because you can make all the excuses in the world. If you love something, you won't make an excuse. You'll try to get it. Remember when you were a kid, you were like, oh man, I want those Jordans. Oh, you know what? Well, I'm going to work here. I'm going to work there. I hate working. I'm going to sell this, sell that. I hate selling my stuff. But guess what?
Yeah.
I want it.
Yeah.
And I'm getting it. And I think when you love something truly, it just happens.
Yeah.
You know, it makes it easier. Loving yourself, taking care of yourself.
Yep. You have to be disciplined. I've always found it to be a catch-22. Like, there's a lot of people that they get blinded by, you know, I just want to do what I love. But then they don't want to take care of their responsibilities. I'm like, well, you're going to have to take care of your responsibilities and grind and bust your ass to get to a point where then you can say, I'm doing this for what I love, but then having the discipline to monetize it, to make a living out of it. That's the goal. But yeah, if you can get to the point in your life where you're happy, I just want to be comfortable. I want to be happy. I want to, you know, wake up and hear that my family is safe.
That's right.
And you know what I mean? Because I know what that's like to wake up and hear otherwise. Mm-hmm. Real quick, are you okay talking about, you mentioned that your mom left you and then you rekindled with your family or reunited with your family. Was that also, was your mother, your biological mother, a part of that? She had passed.
And so had my dad.
Okay.
But I have my siblings and everybody else.
How many siblings? I counted 5, 6.
I have 3 sisters and 1 brother from my biological side.
Gotcha.
And I hate saying biological because it's
though,
but we're just separating the families. I have one brother, 3 sisters from one family, and I have 1 brother and 1 sister from another family.
Gotcha.
So I've been blessed.
Yeah.
With these wonderful, amazing families. And one of the biggest things is when I'm with my sister, we are so much alike.
Yeah.
We look alike. Emotionally, we're alike. We talk alike. And it's crazy. I've been missing that for so long. I always used to ask myself, are there just people out there that look like me?
Yeah.
And think like me? So, yeah.
I can appreciate this.
Life has been it's been a ride for me, and I'm just enjoying every moment of it. You know, I appreciate you having me on here, and hopefully somebody listens to this and say, you know what, hey, if Luis can do it,
yeah,
why can't I?
Yeah,
I tell people, what do you love, man?
Yeah,
what do you love? What do you love? Stop loving money. Money is great.
Yeah, money's a tool.
Money's a tool.
Yeah,
110%. Money is a tool to help you do things. But the love is it's awesome. When I get paid, like the first time I got paid for doing a wedding. Sorry, I know pretty.
No, you're
first time
good.
I got paid for doing a wedding. When I got a good payment for doing a wedding, I was like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I just made this money for doing something that I love doing.
Yeah.
These 8 hours, I partied with these people. I saw this woman get ready. I saw this man be nervous. I saw them unite.
Yeah.
I saw their families come together, friends, dancing and singing and ceremony and kisses and hugs.
Like, what more could you ask for, really?
Yeah, I get paid for it.
Get paid for what you love doing.
I get paid for it.
Yeah.
I just went to the beach for the weekend.
Yeah, anyway, right?
Just went to Chicago. All over. And I get paid for doing what I love to do.
Yeah. That's when you're winning at life, I would think, right? Like,
Yeah.
Like,
kids are good. Kids are healthy.
Good.
Parents are good. They're getting a little older.
Yeah.
Both families good. I'm blessed, man. I am blessed.
Amen, brother. Yeah.
God is good. I'm just gonna keep capturing smiles.
Yeah.
And moments.
Yeah.
And hopefully, when I'm gone, my kids will be able to look at those things and the people that I've captured, bring back. Oh man, remember this 15 years ago? I remember 25 years ago when Mom was here. Or
yeah, and that's the game plan, though, is to leave something behind that resonates.
That's right. I'm leaving stuff behind.
Yeah.
That not only did I create, I created it with other people. It's a bigger connection than just creating a picture. That other person is also part of it.
Yeah. One of the things I love about pictures too is like, and I always say this to like my sisters or my wife. I don't know if they think I'm goofy or not, but it's like these random pictures of growing up, and I'm like, there we are right there. But see those people in the background who we don't know? I wonder what they're doing right now. You know what I mean? Like, how many other pictures am I in?
And that
Right.
you're not the focal point.
Right.
110%.
Someone's got a picture and I'm in the background.
That's right.
It's just so like such a small world when you think of it.
Yes.
Like, look at that. You know, we're all connected in a weird way.
Yes, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What's your like? I kind of brushed on this a little bit, but when I'm wrapping up my interviews, I like to ask questions, like a really solid question. And we talked about what have you learned about people, but considering now what you're seeing when you go across the country and different places, what is one hope you have for humanity, considering what you're seeing?
It's a tough one, man, because you tend to think, you ask yourself, what would you like to happen? But then in the same breath, it's like, could it ever happen? Could people really just care about each other? Just for people to be kind to each other without needing something in return. I think that's all. Just be kind to each other without expecting anything in return. I think the world would change.
I dig it. I dig it, brother. I appreciate you coming on, man. I love this conversation.
Yeah, man, it was awesome. I'm excited to see the podcast and share it with other people, and I'm excited what happens with you and
thank you
to see where you're gonna be next time I see you.
Yeah, I'm plugging away. I'm grinding, but you know, meeting people like yourself, which is like was the whole point behind the podcast, was let's just meet new people, and it's always an exciting week. Even like I have a full-time job, so you know I know that grind very well.
Yeah.
And it's just like I wake up every day and I'm still hungry. You know, so that when it comes to following your passion, that's when I feel like you're on the right path.
That's right.
You know,
because it's 8:30, 9:30 at night, and we're here.
Right.
But it seems like it's just two guys talking and enjoying and learning and sharing. So yeah, I get you.
Cool.
I go to bed, man, and I'm like, one of the things that I struggle with is I know that until next year, what my drive is, and it's tough for me to date, and sometimes for women to be able to understand that.
Okay.
And I know I don't want to go into another segue
cool.
here,
That's
but
cool.
it's important that your goals are written down and respected by everyone around
compromise.
you.
You don't want to compromise your goals.
You don't want to compromise what you love and what you want to do.
Yeah.
If someone comes along, they'll understand that.
You feel that it's hard for when it comes to dating, that it's hard, you're finding it hard. You're finding that women find it hard to sacrifice?
No.
Because they're going to be sacrificing.
They're going to be sacrificing
time.
if they want. Yeah, and it's tough because I also have to make some changes.
Yeah.
Some sacrifices. But it's I'm so, like you said, I wake up and I think about it, I go to bed and I think about it.
Yeah, I got you.
I'm so hyper focused on this goal, and I love what I'm doing so much that people struggle with me at times. Bro, you work too much. Oh, you're gonna go out. Hey, can we get together today? I can't right now. I really want to see you, but how about next Tuesday? Or how about next Friday? Or yeah.
What would meeting somebody? What would it like? Would they? Are you willing to take somebody with you, or are you the kind of person that's
Yes.
like, yeah?
Yeah, eventually. This is a tough subject to talk about, but I've met some really, really wonderful women.
Yeah.
Timing is everything. I think most of them know what my drive and my goal is. But it's not a fair ride for everyone.
Yeah. Sure.
Not everyone's built like me. So,
Sure,
you
yeah.
know, kind of like, you know, sometimes you're better off as friends.
Yeah.
And who knows what tomorrow will bring.
But it sounds like it's not like you're saying no. You're
I'm not saying no.
There needs to be someone that's willing to.
There needs to be someone that's really thick-skinned
Yeah.
and that's one of the biggest things for me is like, hey, I'm going to Chicago this weekend. Can you come?
Yeah. Okay. Cool. Yeah.
And I'm going to the beach. I just got a shoot for tomorrow. I'm going to the beach for 3 days. You want to come? You know, I'm flying down to Puerto Rico to do a wedding. You want to come? Going to Hawaii to do a wedding. You want to come? Because I'm not there.
Yeah.
So I struggle.
Well, maybe somebody's watching this and they're saying, you know, I can make that work. Because the reason why I bring that up is because there's a lot of people who, when it comes to their profession, it's like, no, I'm really busy and I just need to be alone doing what I love to do. But it sounds like you just said, no, that door is open, and that's pretty
open.
cool. That's pretty
Yeah.
cool that you're willing
and
to
I'm
do that.
I'm blessed to have people in my life that understand that and are able to spend time with me.
Yeah.
Not just women, but just friends, guys. You know, it's tough. Hey, Luis, can you take Thanksgiving pictures this year? The third person to ask, and my mom is like, "Are you coming to my house?" And my sister's like, "Are you coming to my house?"
Yeah, you just mentioned when you got here, like everyone's getting their pictures in last minute. You're like,
Yeah,
hurry
guys,
up.
this is getting close to the wintertime here. I am so booked, and people, you know, people are like, "Hey, can you shoot me tomorrow?" No. But it's a good thing to be busy. It's a good thing for people to want you to capture those moments for them.
Well, I guess it's also a good thing where you can get to the point where you can say no.
Yeah.
Because I'm sure for everybody at that beginning, it's like you're taking whatever you can get.
Whatever you can get. So.
What do you have coming up, real quick, before you wrap up?
I have a shoot in New York. I'm doing a weekend shoot. Family portraits, branding. It's going to be a whole weekend. Besides that, I have a whole bunch of Christmas shoots in the studio. And I do go to people's homes, do some family Christmas shoots. So I'm going to be busy with that.
Yeah.
I'm finishing up 4 or 5 senior portraits. And then we have swimming, basketball, wrestling.
Holy shit, dude. So you really do got a lot going on.
Yeah. So,
Jeez. That's 6 or 7 I just heard you say.
I know. It's a lot. I'm booked. I'm booked, and I have one more wedding this year. I just did one last week, 2 weeks ago before Chicago, and I have one here in December, which I'm really looking forward to. I love weddings. Weddings are awesome.
So do I. I love,
Oh.
yeah, especially when you're. I've been to weddings where I know the couple and you just feel it, and you're just
Yeah.
like, man, I've been at weddings and I've cried like a baby because it's just so like, God, I love it. I love it. I love the union. It's a beautiful moment to be a
Yes.
part of. Yeah. I mean,
As a photographer, I love the food. So if
Fair
you guys
enough.
are looking at this and you're going to book me for any events, any parties, you got to feed me.
yeah. I always see those things online where it's like people like are debating whether they should pay for and I'm always like, why wouldn't you let the photographers eat?
It's part of my contract.
Yeah.
It's part of my contract. It's just depending on the client and
I've never
Who they
understood
want.
why you wouldn't want to feed the people that are taking your picture.
But you see, I think that some people book weddings and they talk to them one time
Okay.
and then right before the wedding. I think you build those connections. And the best way is, you do a couple of family portraits. Hey, I got engaged, do engagement pictures. Hey, I do the marriage
So
pictures.
you've already been
and the
along-
kids, yeah.
yeah.
So you're kind of down the road. And then there's people that know people. Like I did a wedding 3 months ago, and I'm sitting here and I'm in the reception. This guy comes up to me and goes, "What's up, Louis?" And I'm like, "Hey, what's up, man?" He goes, "I'm glad he hired you. I told him to hire you." And I'm like, and he goes, "Oh, don't you remember what wedding I was at?" And I was like, "That's right. That's right.
Oh, that's cool.
So I get so many referrals. I'm Latino. I'm going to dance at your wedding.
There you go, bro.
I'm going to be dancing while I'm shooting pictures. I'm going to be dancing. I'm going to eat some food, too. And, we're going to laugh together. And I'm going to make sure that your wife is nice and relaxed. 'Cause as soon as I walk into a wedding, I'm like, I don't care what's going on.
Yeah.
It's your wedding.
Yeah.
Without you, nobody's getting married.
There you go.
So all that stress, you could just let that go out the window. We'll figure it out.
There you go. You gotta learn how to talk to people, man.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I appreciate this conversation, Louis.
Yes.
I'm glad we met, man. I got a feeling I know you're a busy cat, but hopefully in the future we can meet up again.
Definitely.
Yeah, man.
I'm definitely looking to doing some family pictures for you. So
There you go. Okay.
we'll have to book that.
Okay. I'm gonna have to talk to my wife because
There you go.
she loves that shit, and she
Hey,
absolutely.
Of course, yes.
All right, Louis. Well, I appreciate you. Thank you very much, brother. This is it.
Yes.
We're done here.
Hey, thanks, man.
All right, man.
You were awesome.